for them. Let me read the text for this morning. I am black and beautiful, O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not gaze at me because I am dark, because the sun has gazed upon me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard I have not kept. I want to talk about black brilliance today. Black brilliance. And it's hard to leave this word beauty out. Black brilliance and beauty. Beloved, this has been a beautiful and an uplifting Black History Month at Concord. On this last Sunday, I'm turning away from that John passage to something that I want us to deal with today as we finish not being black, but this month. I also think it's important for a pastor or a preacher to say where their inspirations come from. I've been struggling all week trying to figure out what to call this, how to pivot. And I remembered that I have a sweatshirt in my closet that has on it hashtag Black Brilliance. Now, I got that from Charles Coleman, and that is his brand. And I got it to support his black business and to promote the idea that black and brilliant are not antonyms. And I called him, texted him yesterday, and I said, Charles, I just want you to know I'm using your hashtag as a sermon for Sunday. And he was busy being Charles, added another responsibility, and you all keep up with him on the news stations and other ways. He is doing great work. And I, as a pastor, I want to keep a hand and a prayer on him always. I asked him, could I have permission, because I wouldn't have used it if I didn't have it. And he said, by all means. I believe in making attribution. When you get a good idea from somebody, it doesn't hurt you to say where you got it from. Right? And besides, he's a lawyer. I didn't want to be sued. I don't want to spend this entire month talking about other people and about our being othered by other people. If we do that, we're not really talking about the gift of ourselves, and we're not really talking about black history. We're talking about somebody else. Listen carefully. Black history is not about someone or some other body. It is about black people. I also use this text because some of you will recognize in your Bible, many people list this book as the Song of Solomon. But if you read this very carefully, you know that Solomon is not writing this. The voice is clearly a woman. Listen carefully. And it is one of the few places in the whole Holy Scripture where a love letter, a poem, a sense of romance has entered into the narrative or into the work. It is a special book all by itself. And you read it carefully because there are places about she will say, I searched the whole city and I could not find him. This is obviously, you stop letting people tell you that the Bible was written by men, divinely inspired. It was written by men and at least one woman. I have to do that because next month is Women's History Month. And we need to tell the stories and hear the accomplishments of the sisters that are often forgotten about in our work. Today, I dealt with whiteness last week, so this week I felt compelled to talk about blackness. What exactly is blackness? The sister who pens these words, the Song of Songs, gives us some idea when she says this simple thing, I am black and beautiful. Those words may not seem much to other people. Some people will try to figure out what's going on. The reality is that for many years, the translation of that text was, I am black, but beautiful. Y'all gonna be with me today? Listen, y'all. Beauty is not the opposite of blackness. You don't have to put a but behind anything that you say about your black self. And I have my suspicions, you know I do, about why that was done, about why centuries of interpretation of this text has said that, because there have been centuries of text that say something negative about people of the darker hue. Yeah, that's right. And there are people who would imagine that every good hero in this Bible had Eurocentric features. Brother Malcolm helps us with that. Your Bible, he says, tells you that after his birth, Jesus and his family went and hid in Egypt. How can you hide a blonde-haired, blue-eyed child in Egypt? Brother Malcolm said. You'll pick that up a little later. I want to deal with three very specific things. I'm going to take these words one by one, and I want to just show you what blackness is. First three words say, I am black. Black is first. The verb to be is about essence. It's about what state of being you are in. It is about who one is in one's essence. When I say in my essence, not to be confused with the magazine, I am black, I am saying that my whole being is black. Let me see if I can get that to you. Allow me to philosophize for a moment and call upon a great philosopher, French philosopher by the name of Jean-Paul Sartre, who says that life is about being and non-being. Either you are being, meaning you are being fulfilled, being your full self, being actualized, or you are competing against the things that are causing non-being in your life. Like, if we would put that into theological constructs, we'd say being is living the life that God has given us, and non-being is the sin that so easily besets us. But black being is the thriving, the giving, the prospering, the creative life of all black people. And we must understand that the danger or threat to black being is what I spoke to you about last week. That is white centering and white supremacy. The power of white supremacy is that it attempts to make the truthful being of black people turn that into non-being. But I am black. Doesn't matter what you do, and that black is also a part of the power of linguistics, of humanity. Let me see if I can get to this, help you understand this concept linguistically, with language. Black being is in our language. Let me show you what I mean. Have you ever heard somebody tell you, you can't say that because it's a double negative? Like this one, here's one. I ain't got no money. Now, if you understand the power, creativity of black language, you understand that that is a very specific statement. Let me see. You see, if you came to me and say, Rev, give me $5, I say, I don't have any money, right? Which means I don't carry cash on me. I don't have any money, right? Which means it could be in my jacket. It could be, in the Crisco can on the counter. It could be in between my mattress. It could be at one of these banks. I don't have any money says, I don't have any money on my person. But when I tell you, and bill collectors, and folks who are hitting me up for money, I ain't got no money. What I'm telling you is, I don't have it on my person. It's not in my coat. It's not in the Crisco can. It's not in between my mattress. It's not at some bank. I ain't got no money, period. Well, maybe you didn't. Maybe that one doesn't make sense. Let me try another one. Black people say things like, I be, you be, conjugate the verb to be, I be, you be, he be, she be, we be, right? You all think that's bad English. But I be is a black adaptation of the perfect tense. Listen, y'all. It is something that happened in the past that is continuing right now. Let me see if I can make this plain. It is kind of like saying, why are you questioning me today, right? But if you do that, or I say, stop playing with me, simple sentence, you can get that. But you keep on playing with me. And you play with me some more, and you keep messing with me. And finally I say, why you always be messing with me? Because you never stop messing. It never stops. It has gone on as much as I've told you how to stop, you would not. Let me tell you, don't play with me is a caution. When you say, why you be playing with me, that's a warning. You better heed the words of the brother. In the words of Brother Jay, shout out to Jason Hunter, who also grew up in this church, listening to sermons in this sanctuary. And while I'm at it, as these young people were talking, were singing this morning, one of the young people who used to sing in our children's choir just defended his dissertation at the University of Notre Dame in engineering. I would read it to you, but I can't pronounce all the words in it. That is soon to be conferred Dr. Kaber Noel, Randy Noel's son. I tell you, you better bring your kids to church. You never know what might rub off while we be praising God. This sense of essence is a determined spirit resolved around what the young people just sang to us. I'm not going to let nobody turn me around. It is Jesse Jackson saying, I am somebody. It's black workers, black men, black sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee, denied their humanity, walking behind garbage trucks that other people were driving and doing all the hard labor and not being paid the same. It is them walking through Memphis with sandwich sign placards that says, I am a man. It's Maya Angelou saying, you could do whatever you want to me, but I ride. Black being is knowing that we are, no matter what other people say about me. It is also communal because it is not the royal we. You know, people who are pretentious think that when they speak for everybody. Where we're going to do that. That's not what black people say or mean when they talk about this communal idea of my being. It is connected to this idea, African idea of Ubuntu, which is that I am because we are. And if we stop being who we are, then I can't be who I am. The truth of the matter, this communal idea of being, black being, is recognizing that we are connected to all people who are in the struggle to resist the non-being, the imposing of non-being upon our lives, thinking that we are less than, worse than, or unable to do anything because I am black. Well, the second thing it is, I am black. Say that. I am black. Now say this. I am black and beautiful. This word, introducing this word beautiful into us, creates another category for us to discuss. It is not just that we be black, but being black is beautiful, y'all. It's about the black arts. It's about black creativity. It's about seeing the beauty in black features, in flat noses and full lips and tight hair. It is celebrating all of what is the black body. It is James Brown saying, say it loud, I'm black and I'm proud. It is both Nina Simone and Riri singing, to be young, gifted, and black. That in the struggle for the identity of self, in essence, creativity comes. It turns thrown away food into delicacies. It innovates science and technology. It helps, it gives poets other notes to hit, songwriters and song players and all rhythms for people to hear that would not be heard unless it was played by black folk. Black is an aesthetic. It's not just black. And I want to remind you of this. I'm going to assert that like the tents of Kedar and the curtains of Solomon, the beauty was there in all of these places. And sometimes we have to deal with the ugliness that black people do to each other. Now, this gets dicey, sticky. But let me tell you, we now have 2 stacks of black cards. And the counterfeit black cards are being used to cancel out the folks who have had black cards all along. Because the counterfeit black cards think that proximity means power. And don't y'all get mixed up in it. You know, because we're communal, we can't force ourselves, as we have done in many ways, to say who is black and who is not. We've had this argument over education. We've had this argument of the points of origin. We've had this argument on ports of slavery. Black people have been arguing with each other about on which soil you make your black declaration. I don't care where you go. If you is in Antarctica, you is still black. Black is an aesthetic. It's beautiful. You know what I'm talking about. Sometimes you've been in a place and you didn't know where you were. You were a stranger. You didn't have to know anybody, but you just saw another black person. You said, ah. Listen, true story. Emma and I were coming back from my grandmother's funeral in Ohio. We were driving through Pennsylvania. And if you know about Pennsylvania, then you know this. As some of the people say, there is Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, and in between is Alabama. So we were in the in-between and we decided to stop. We just picked a place, decided to stop. We didn't know where we were. We went to the hotel and ate because, you know, black people can go to whatever hotels they want to. They could then. And so we went in and sat down. There was an older black couple sitting on the other side of the restaurant. And I said, well, if something breaks out, Ebba, we'll have them. And so we went to a salad bar. You used to be able to do that too. Go to salad bar where people help themselves. And lo and behold, it was Cyprian and Annabelle. Now, I was not at Concord then. I was in Morristown. It was Cyprian and Annabelle. And they looked and said, Reverend Simpson, what are you doing here? I said, well, we just stopped here. They had been going for years to Neiman Marcus in Chicago, and that was the hotel they always stopped at. And boy, when I saw them, I felt a lot better and safer about where I was. You don't hear me. It's an aesthetic. It's in the way we walk. A sister, she got her dignified walk together. She walks in the room and people stop. I ain't gonna do that because some of y'all gonna put it on film. Say, I can see the post now. It would be a reel. It would say, black pastor announces that he is This is a messed up world, y'all. And I ain't mad about anybody who is either. Let me just put that there. You are who you are, and you're still black and beautiful to me. Let me hasten on. Black is an essence. It's about how we are being. It is an aesthetic. It is a beautiful. It is also an ethic. Ethics are about doing. This is simple. Black is as black does. Let me show you something in this 6th verse. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me the keeper of the vineyard, but my own vineyard I have not kept. Turn that off. This is a good one right here. Some of us are so busy keeping other folks' vineyards that we're not planting for ourselves. And you got to understand, dear friends, you got to understand, my friends, that if you're going to survive in a world where you don't know who all is against you, you have to build some things for yourself. Black is as black does. Black does not tear down, it builds up. Black does not get stuck in individuality. It always understands in the larger universe of black brilliance and beauty that we are together. Black does not carelessly deal with family. And some of you are going to have to do some repenting because of the way you have treated your own family people, because they are not like you. Black is not just concerned about me and mine, it also cares about the neighborhood and the community. Black is not divisive, it is intentionally unifying. Let's come together, friends. It is not hurting or harming others, but healing and binding the wounds of denial and dehumanization that has been inflicted upon us. It is reflective. Black people here, let me tell you this, and a whole lot of folks who have done terrible things have discovered this. Black people forgive. And some of our folks don't come home till they do the most unforgivable things. Ooh, I wish I could say what I want to say right now. You ain't been black all your life until you got in trouble. Now you super black. Got kente on everywhere. Kente scarf, kufi, kente shoes, everything. And you bought that kente, it was made in Korea. Doing, one of our groups in the earlier year, I know y'all gonna know this song when I tell you. Come on, let's do it. Do it. Do it till you're satisfied. Whatever it is. Huh? Let me tell you something. I'm black, but I also love Jesus. Now, some of y'all stop at your own satiation, your own satisfaction. But I'm black and I love Jesus, so my Pentecostal friends were like this. We don't do it till we satisfy, we do it till we sanctify. Huh? See, then the Commodores would come by and say, yeah, I feel sanctified. Y'all, problem is you don't expand black creativity beyond certain places in the house. The truth of the matter is that we do what we do. We live until, not just until I am satisfied, but until it sets me apart, and until ultimately, back to John 12, God gets the glory. Carter G. Woodson idea was that the country ignored the contributions of black people to the building of this democracy. Originally, it was about making sure we did not forget the things we've done. Do not forget, overlook outwardly the things that we have done. Now we have come to this time of self-reflection. We cannot just not forget what we have done. We thank God for the stars that shine in brilliance around us, but let us also not forget ourselves. And the black stars who were in the making, who just sang, for Charles, Caber, and other young boys and girls who came through this church to become greatness all over the world. We have to remember we cannot forget ourselves. If we hold ourselves to this standard of black brilliance and beauty, we also realize that it is not just for people who are celebrities. You are black and brilliant. You are black, beautiful, and brilliant. You. Nobody's called your name. You're not on anybody's magazine, but because God made you black, you're already beautiful. And because you are beautiful and black, you have brilliance inside of you. We understand that black brilliance is the understanding that all temporality, everything that we can see, is only temporary. And the eternity is what we cannot see, what cannot be contained, what cannot be conquered. Black beauty and brilliance is Hannibal, not Lecter. Hannibal, the Carthaginian, who took elephants across the Alps to go and fight the Romans in their own backyard. Y'all don't hear me. He took elephants across the most dangerous crossing of the Swiss Alps to get to Rome, to remind the Romans that you ain't the only one here. And they say that when Hannibal got his army ready to go, somebody said, "What about the mountains? You know, we're headed in the direction of the Alps. What about the march? What about the mountains?" Hannibal said, "Forward march. We see no Alps." Have you any rivers that you think are uncrossable? Have you any mountains that you can't tunnel through? I want to tell you, God specializes in doing the impossible, and God can do what no other power can do. Don't you let people tell you, as people caricature the spirituality of black people. Dear friends, you and I are aware that somewhere, there's somebody, If you listen really carefully, over my head, I hear music in the air. Over my head, I hear music in the air. Kwame, I wish you could get that echo in that microphone, in that speaker. Over my head, I hear music in the air. There must be a God. You already know. Somewhere over my head, I see trouble in the air. You ever had an older saint, ancestor, older relative, or somebody say, "You better not go out today, it doesn't seem quite right out there"? Over my head, I see trouble in the air. Over my head, I see trouble In the air, there must be a God somewhere. Check this out. Music, trouble, sometimes the trouble make you want to stop singing. But over top the trouble, over my head, I see glory. Somebody ought to be shouting right now. Over all your troubles, over all your sorrows, over my head, I see glory in the air. Over my head, I see glory in the air. There must be a God somewhere.